Good morning, this is Tim McGowan for the Finance News Network. US equities finished lower in Friday trading, though off their worst levels. If you think the last couple of weeks have seen a lot of news and action in financial markets, then this week we've got a big week ahead. There's a Fed Reserve rate rise in the US, a high inflation reading from Australia, an economic update from Thursday from the federal government, the first estimate of American June quarter GDP, inflation and unemployment in the EU, and more US earnings in the biggest week of the season. Australia's June quarter consumer price index is out on Wednesday and will drive the size of the interest rate rise here next Tuesday from the RBA. On Friday, the Dow Jones lost 0.43%, the S&P 500 declined 0.93%, while the NASDAQ was 1.87% lower. US equities saw its second week of outflows, according to Bank of America, although there were still no signs of investor pessimism in the flow data. Friday's losses cut into weekly gains for all three major averages, with the Dow Jones closing out the week 2% higher, the S&P advanced about 2.6%, and the NASDAQ capped the week up 3.3%. Across the sectors, investors got defensive, with the best performing sectors being utilities, real estate and consumer staples. An earnings miss from Snap, which sent shares tumbling about 39%, halted this week's NASDAQ rally. One analyst said Snap has managed to snap the uptrend in the NASDAQ by reporting disappointing earnings, which created a cascading effect on the S&P. The results from Snapchat parent were followed by a slew of analyst downgrades on the stock. Snap's quarterly report also weighed on other social media and tech stocks, which investors feared could face slowing online advertising sales. Shares of Meta Platforms and Pinterest fell about 7.6% and 13.5% respectively, while Alphabet lost 5.6%. Twitter rose 0.8% despite reporting disappointing second quarter results that missed on earnings, revenue and user growth. The social media company blamed challenges in the ad industry as well as uncertainty around Elon Musk's acquisition of the company for the miss. About 21% of the S&P 500 companies have reported earnings so far. Of those, nearly 70% have beaten analyst expectations, according to FactSet. 5 sectors, including energy, healthcare, technology, utilities and consumer staples, are expected to post higher earnings. The pace of the second quarter earnings season hits its peak this week, with 174 S&P 500 companies scheduled to release earnings. Those include the likes of Apple, Amazon, Meta, Alphabet, McDonald's, Colgate, Procter & Gamble, Pfizer, MasterCard and Anglo American, to name a few. In currency news, the US dollar was firmer versus the euro, but under pressure on the yen cross. One Australian dollar has slightly weakened compared to the US dollar on Friday, buying 69.31 US cents. In commodity news, iron ore futures are pointing to an 8.5% gain. Gold headed for its first weekly gain and 6 on Friday as a pullback in US Treasury yields and the dollar's decline bolstered bullion's safe haven appeal as economic risk persisted. Gold gained 0.8%, silver was down 0.5%. Oil prices fell on Friday on a weakening global demand outlook and the resumption of some Libyan crude output. Oil lost 1.7%. In Australia today, the SPI futures are pointing to a 0.2% fall. This is Tim McGowan for the Finance News Network.